Hey YouTube, this is Colin, and today I'm going to talk about my 1996 Subaru Impreza, which is actually the first car I've ever owned. I know you guys like it when I document my progress with cars and motorcycles, so this is actually going to be the first in several episodes where I'm going to share about cars and motorcycles I've worked on in the past before I start recording. So the style is going to be a little different. I'm actually going to be talking and going through some slideshows. So you guys are more than welcome to just grab some popcorn, kick back, and listen to the stories. So here we go. Okay, so back in 2009, I bought my very first car. I was a poor college student, so I couldn't afford much. And what I got was a 1996 Subaru Impreza. And when people think Subaru Impreza, they automatically think like WRX or STI with 200 or 300 something horsepower. But I got the Subaru Impreza GS model or something like that. It had 98 horsepower and it was slower than a Honda Civic. In addition to that, Subaru was very cheap that year. They opted to remove the tachometer, so when I actually drove it, I didn't know what the RPM was. It was actually a very good learning experience because I had to listen to the engine while shifting. I was looking on Craigslist for cheap manual transmission cars because I was poor, and I found this Subaru Impreza for, I think they're asking for $2,000. I was in San Francisco at the time, and they were in Oakland, so I made a BART trip out, and I got to check out the car. When I first saw the car, I actually did not like it at all. It was very dirty, like the interior had a lot of dog hair, there were stains on the carpet, rips in the seats, a lot of dents everywhere, and as you can see in the picture, the hood has clear coat, but the rest of the body doesn't. I was pretty unimpressed and I didn't want to pay $2,000 for it, so I told the guy that I would pass, but if he can't sell it and he's willing to negotiate, then I may consider it. A week or two later, I called him and asked him if he sold the car, and he said he didn't. So he asked me, how much would you like to buy the car for? So I just threw out a random number. I said $700, and then he said, okay, I'll take it. So I took the BART over to Oakland, and I bought the car, and I wasn't very experienced in driving manual transmission cars at the time. I was pretty nervous. When I was about to go on the bridge, before the off ramp, I stalled the car, and I was just freaking out, thinking, what if I stalled at the toll booth or on the bridge or somewhere, and I just couldn't get out of that situation. So I only stalled once that entire trip, and I made it home safely. So as you can see in this picture, here is the Subaru. It has clear coat. It looks better here, but when you actually see it in person, it wasn't that nice. As you can see in the next image, there is a dent on the side rear passenger quarter panel. This is another picture. There's blemishes on the driver's side bumper. You can see that in detail. And with this car, I wanted to try tinting it. I think shops wanted $100 to do it, so I thought maybe I can try it myself. I bought some tint on eBay for $10, and I realized that putting on tint is not easy, especially in the back. This is a two-door, and trying to put tint on in the back was pretty difficult. I got all these bubbles, and it was just really hot, and it just came out really, really bad. So you can see the tint in the back. It doesn't look too bad from a distance, but it actually was on the inside. So I decided to clean the car because it was just so dirty inside. I actually stripped the entire interior, some people call it gutting, so I can vacuum the floor and every other area. I took off the shift boot because I didn't like how it looked. So that's the seat and all the panels. This is everything out. There's a vacuum in there. And then here's the back. More pictures. So with the seats, they were ripped. So instead of buying new seats or trying to fix it, the cheap alternative was to put seat covers over it. So that's what I did. And seat covers in the back. I bought a separate tachometer. It was hard finding a place to tap in to read the RPMs, but I eventually found it inside the engine bay. And this was a glow shift tachometer, which is pretty cool because it changes colors. Look at that. It's green, and then it would fade to like blue, and you can set it so at a certain when it hits a certain RPM, that shift light turns on. After a while, I was kind of dissatisfied with how it looked, and I started looking up other Subarus and how they looked, and I got some ideas. Like there was this one here where it was like all black, which was pretty cool. Another view of it, or like a WRX rally car. This one looked pretty nice too with the gold rims. Because I had some experience painting like motorcycles, so I decided why not just paint this entire car. So I started sanding the entire car, sanding it more, and then in that back I tried to put Bondo, but you're really not supposed to put Bondo on things like deeper than half an inch, but I tried it anyway, and like it didn't really turn out that well, but it was just something to fill up that hole. And then I started prepping the rear, so I put I think that's, not sure what paper that is, it might be newspaper, and painter's tape. Then I did it for the lights, covered the windows, and then I started priming it. So this is the car after it was primed. I actually bought spray guns, and so I instead of spray cans, I bought primer from, at the time it was called Kragen, now it's called O'Reilly, and I had to mix that and put it in. I needed a compressor for that, so that's the primer. Another view, the back, the side, the front, and then I put on the base coat, and here's the back, side, front, and then I put the lights back on, so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's not too bad. And there's that dent again, and it's pretty noticeable for the tinting in the back. You can see all the bubbles. The back, I took the Subaru logos off. Here's the top, side, and inside the trunk it'll still paint it the stock color, so that's what it looks like there. Inside the engine bay, it's the same color, it's bone stock. And from a distance, as you can see on the hood, there's a lot of streaks, so it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but I think it looked a lot better than it was originally. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to hear more stories, you can check out my other videos, and if you like my style of videos, you can subscribe to my channel. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and take care.